Hey, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. This is Jim, and I've just come off of a crazy busy week of serving hundreds of business building warriors, listeners to this podcast in Orlando, Florida. The last 3 days of May 2025, we had an incredible event. Hundreds attended. Your fellow listeners were there with us in droves. I'm actually backstage right now on day 3 of the event, and it was amazing. So we thought, since we don't have any new podcast episodes for you, we've all been crazy busy serving this event. We had over 50 breakout sessions. Hey, well, how about we just drop one of the sessions as a podcast episode? So here's the one we've got for you today. This just happened a few days ago. It was our coaching director, Nathan Daly, and I, impromptu Q&A, sharing vision about what we see as the future of Amazon selling, what other opportunities are out there, what are we excited about, and then taking some Q&A from the crowd. And I haven't reviewed all the audio of this recording yet. I'm literally backstage. I'm due to speak here in about 10 minutes, but I wanted to record this so we could get it out to you in time so we'd have an episode for the coming week. So just to set this up a little bit, this is a pure recording as if you'd been in the room, conversations that Nate and I had with, I don't know, for this particular breakout session, there was maybe 80 or so people in the room, and we presented our vision of what's coming, what we see in the future, and we took a lot of really good questions from the community as well. So I thought you might just enjoy kind of being there without being there, being in the room with us for this episode. It starts off just me. Nate was running a little late, and then he jumps in and we have some good conversations and just kind of riff for a little while about, again, the future of Amazon selling, the future of e-commerce, what opportunities we see and we are excited about. And I'm just glad you're along for the journey today. Thanks for jumping into the episode. This is an unusual episode. If this happens to be one of the first episodes you're listening to, let me just let you know that you need to scroll back in time and hear some of the hundreds of success story interviews from our students. We've got the Proven Amazon course, which is our flagship seller training course, and a lot of Proven Amazon course students were at this event telling us about their success stories. And you can see over 2,500 success stories from that course in the My Silent Team Facebook group, which there's a link to all of that in the show notes today. And we've also got a lot of coaching students as well who were at this event coming up to us, a lot of hugs, a lot of handshakes, a lot of testimonials and success stories. That's what most of our podcast episodes consist of, is interviews with those students. But today, this is just a live feed from the Proven Conference in Orlando the last 3 days of May. So thanks for listening to the show. We'll kind of get back to our normal schedule here as soon as possible. Hope you understand that, we put all hands on deck to serve this community, and it was a powerful event. If you missed it, we did record the whole thing, if you're wondering. I'm not sure if the videos are on sale quite yet or not. They will be soon if they're not. But you can go to theprovenconference.com. We'll have the videos for sale for you very soon from the 50 breakout sessions. Incredible event. If you missed it, sorry you missed it. And maybe you were there and you didn't hear all the sessions with 50 sessions. That's understandable. So here's one that maybe you missed. This is Nate and I hanging out last night, having a conversation about the future of Amazon and e-commerce and the things we're excited about. Enjoy this episode. Good evening, my friends. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. I can't believe you guys are all still able to come out and soak up even more stuff after all that. What a great second day. Thank you. So many of you guys have come up to us, and I'm hearing some background noise. What is that? All right, I'm good. So many of you come up to me throughout the day and just said, some of the most amazing, glowing, supporting things. Thank you so much for your feedback. We're honored by it. And this is just going to be some time for us tonight it's not real formal. Nate's going to be joining us. I know they had a coaching dinner to get to, so he'll be along here shortly. I'm hoping. So having too much fun. Then you just stuck with just me, but I don't think that's going to happen. Were you with them, Michael? No? Okay. So I don't think they're back yet. But we'll get rolling without him. But what we're going to do is, this is an informal time, and we're going to do some Q&A. I will need someone to run the microphone around, my sound friends. Not right now, but here in a few minutes. Just wanted to speak from the heart about something we get asked quite often. I'll have people come up, and the theme of tonight is, hey, Where do you think all this is going? What are you excited about? How are you feeling about these things? Hi, Mom. Hi, Avon. Hey, sorry, this is the VIP section, so you guys have no, it's a pretty full room. Yeah, there's one over here. Oh, they want to sit together. That's okay. You guys can go back there, Mom. It's okay. I'll be okay. They want to sit up here and smile at me, but I'm all right. Isn't my mom cute? Happy birthday, Mom. Love you. Have you ever got that many happy birthdays in a day? Thank you guys for doing that for her. That's so cool. This has been a family thing for us for many, many years, so thanks for helping honor our family. Okay, this event, I get asked a lot. I get asked on the podcast after the recording's over or before the recording starts, or when I run into people like, Jim, okay, be straight with me. Like, what's going on here? What are you excited about? Where do you think all this is going? Is this still legitimate? That kind of theme. A lot of people have that kind of question. And I'll start off with maybe the most powerful thing I could say in response to that is, I've been getting that exact question for 24 years. Well, I heard it's not, and Jeff's sitting there nodding his head up and down. We got that about eBay. Remember the first time eBay raised their fees 24 years ago? What happened? People lost their mind. It's done. It's done. Corporate greed is going to destroy it. Retail arbitrage is done. It's never going to work out, right? So, hey, Michael, Nate's calling me. Could you see what is up? Just take care of him. Thanks, man. That means he's trying to get an Uber and he'll be here. But let's get as much done as we can before he gets here, all right? Let's go. No joke, for 24 years, I've been hearing, oh, it's not like it used to be. It used to be, oh, I wish I got in earlier. No, the future has literally never been brighter. And I'm going to give you some reasons why I think some of that is. I'm going to give you some facts, data, evidence. You're in a room, a building, where you've rocked shoulder to shoulder with people who are running seven-figure businesses and building incredible income streams, Amazon-based, all kinds of other ideas as well. You are in the right industry. That's one of the main things I wanted to encourage you with tonight, because you don't have to look far to find a lot of negativity about anything worth doing in life. You want to find people that'll talk you out of getting married? They're out there. You want to find people that'll talk you out of starting a business? They're out there. You want to find people that'll talk you out of getting healthy? Just love your body the way it is. You don't need that. You'll find people who'll knock anything, right? So don't listen to those voices. You got to surround yourself with people who are doing it, who are excited about it. You got to commit. Is this something I want to do? Is it viable? Yes, let's go. I shared some of this on day one, and I'm going to go a little deeper on this maybe right now. And that is the fact that the numbers, the facts, the evidence, the data, it all supports e-commerce has a very bright future. Any projections you look at about e-commerce, the future is bright. It's the fastest growing economic sector in the United States. Nothing else has as fast of a growth track or as bright of a future as does e-commerce. In the e-commerce arena, Amazon is half the game. Their projections are nothing but growth. Every time someone comes to me and says, well, it's not quite like it used to be. I heard there's some sellers that are having trouble and that's problems. And I say, how many shoppers are on Amazon? Are they slowing down their shopping? Until that happens, I've got no red flags at all. Shoppers are shopping like crazy and someone has to fill those shelves. And right now, as we're sitting here, there's 2 million products. I said this in one of our sessions today. There's 2 million products. I'll tell you guys how to find it on Keepa if you want, that have 0 FBA sellers, meaning there are no fast delivery options for very popular products that sell very well through the merchant fulfilled network, which means 2 or 3 day delivery time at the fastest. But you could be FBA, which means 4-hour delivery time, and people will pay for that. There's 2 million products right now that meet that description. That has been growing. I've been charting, I've been tracking it. That number's getting bigger. There's 10 to 15 million products at any given time that are ridiculously understocked in Amazon's warehouse network. The opportunity is huge. New brands launching like crazy. There's all kinds of creative ideas that you've been exposed to at this event. So I just want to put you at ease. You're in the right industry. You're in the right room. If you're looking for more financial flexibility, be able to work from home, the freedom that comes with it, this is the right place to be. I started off my journey about 25 years plus ago saying, hey, I need to find something. I didn't say I want to get into e-commerce. I said, I want to find something that allows me to live a flexible schedule. If it's nice outside, I want to go with my kids to the zoo. I want to take some pressure off of my wife by being home to help and be available, whatever the business is. I want something I can ramp into at a nice, steady pace that hopefully grows into something someday. I found eBay. It started working. I started sharing my journey online. Started growing a bit of a community who kind of wanted to do it along. We were just kind of doing it together. I became a bit of a voice in that community. Some of you have been around. How many have been with me more than 15 years? Let me see some hands. There we go. Ben, Jeff, yeah. There's someone. So Mom, yeah. Mom, how long? You know me at least 15 years, right? Yeah. What, 18 years? Yeah. So Mom knows. She knows the whole story. And we've been doing this a long time, guys. But I didn't start off saying, I want to get into e-commerce. I want to be an e-commerce influencer. No, I just wanted to make some money doing something legitimate that I could be proud of that helped support this flexible lifestyle that I knew was possible. eBay got me into that world. And then suddenly all the shoppers started paying less and less attention to eBay and started paying more and more attention to Amazon. So we started going over there where the traffic was. I love eBay, use it to this day. I love Walmart. I'm not an Amazon guy. That's just where half of all e-commerce is happening in the United States. So that's where we say there's the low-hanging fruit opportunity, because that's where all the eyeballs are, right? Nothing I'm saying is too terribly complex. Just arming you with facts and data. So when people say, well, it's not like it used to be, that's going to be true the rest of our lives. E-commerce is changing constantly. You've got to be willing to learn. You've got to be willing to be flexible. You've got to be willing to pivot. And the nice thing about being a small business is we can pivot. We can learn new things. That's why we say your relationship network is so vital, because you probably will have to pivot at some point. The thing that you're just killing it with today, 6 months from now, might be income stream number 3 that's kind of lost a little of its sizzle for you. That's the game. That's what it feels like. So in that arena of constant change and expanding opportunity, what we did several years ago was went looking for what's the starting point, the most reliable starting point, where we can take someone who comes to us and says, all right, we trust you, we like you, we're willing to put a little into this, we're willing to put a little money. We're good, Nate, we're good. It's all right, buddy. Look at him running. Look at him running. Don't wear yourself out. There he is.
I had to go to a yard sale. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to the thrift store, yard sale, and
let me finish my thought, then I'm going to turn it over to you. So if someone's willing to work, they trust us, they're willing to put in the effort, what is the business model that we want to start you out at? It's replens, right? And we've been doing it with ridiculous success. Meaning there is no other business model out there. You can look high, you can look low. I don't care if you talk to Tony Robbins. I don't care if you talk to any of these other organizations out there with a product or a service or a course or real estate. No one has the success rate that we have of taking a determined, committed business building warrior, which means blood, sweat, tears, risk, work, sacrifice. Anything worth having in life requires all of those things. You've heard me say it 100 times. Sometimes people accuse me, Jim, you make it sound like it's easy. No, I've never said it's easy. Not once. Try to find it. I've never said that. Anything worth having in life, blood, sweat, tears, risk, work, sacrifice. Everything, your marriage, your health, your business, everything worth having in life. But if you're willing to do those things, this is as predictable as it gets. This is as stable as it gets. As much as Amazon is sometimes a pain in the you-know-what, as much as sometimes you're just like, this is too much, this is as stable as e-commerce business gets. And the evidence of that is mounting constantly. Try to find anyone else who's been talking about the same thing for 24 years on e-commerce. We've been pounding the same drum. There for a while, it was eBay. This is the most stable thing we can find, so that's what we're going to teach. It stopped being that. eBay's now a second or third place. It's a great income stream. We love it, but it's not the most stable, predictable, steady thing. That's why we start you with replens, okay? So what am I excited about? The theme of this is, what are we excited about? as we look into the future, I'm thrilled for I see replens, the specific model of helping fill the underserved shelf space in Amazon's hundreds of warehouse network. The way we teach it, we're years ahead of anyone else that even has an attempt at what we're trying to do. We're very good. And the software that's coming, 3P Mercury, that can help automate, where you can have, if you want 6,000 ASINs and the software tells you when it's time to go buy more, and you can sit in with Jimmy on his evergreen sourcing, which is new, and you can fill that bucket as often as you want with as many products. Those are new opportunities that didn't exist before. I'll say one last thing.
And it's never going away.
It's never going to go anywhere. Yes, arbitrage will never go away. Buying low, selling high, moving stuff from a place of low value to high value. It's never going to go away.
Platforms come and go. Arbitrage is never going away.
Arbitrage will never go away. And Amazon, as long as it's the biggest game in town, it's the place to be. So we want to create the lowest risk, most predictable, stable, steady platform for you to get into e-commerce, where you're not taking some huge leap off of a cliff and hoping it works out. If you go all in with us and say, I want everything you've got to offer, and I want to get some inventory and get going, you're spending a few $1,000s. Go try to find another business opportunity that meets that description. It doesn't exist. So I'm very proud of what we've built. We have put blood, sweat, tears, risk, work, and sacrifice for 2 decades into creating a system that if I could stand in front of 1 million people tonight, I'd say the exact same thing. If you want the lowest risk into e-commerce, which is the most beautiful business model you can have, the greatest time in human history to be alive, to build a beautiful business that allows you the flexibility to be home, this is what I want to show you. And if you're ready to work, which most people aren't, then we're going to build something. All right, Nate, welcome, buddy. How was dinner?
It was good, man.
It was good.
I got to hang out with all the coaches and tell them that we're rolling this thing up into a holdings company, and we just made all the coaches shareholders of the business. It's not enough that they care about you deeply, and it's not about the money for them. But if you're a coach working with us, you're now an owner of all of our companies that we own together, and you're a stock holder of the company. So I'm excited for where we're going with this, because we're getting better at it too. I mean, you see businesses have a shelf life, and that's the thing, is that you're watching for in business is, okay, how long am I going to be able to do this? Now, Jim, you and I have been working this for like 23 years. I don't see myself doing anything else.
No.
I don't see anything
it's
that's
who we are.
appealing
It's what we
at
do.
all.
It's helping people create the businesses of their dreams using whatever creative opportunities are available at the time, which is going to be e-commerce. Right? That's what this community does. And your success may have nothing to do with the two of us. It may be someone you sat next to at lunch today. I love hearing those stories from people who say, yeah, I came to your event. I never bought the pack. I never bought coaching and everything. But the guy sitting next to me, he and I connected, and we launched this beautiful thing. And that's what this community does. Now, it's nice to be able to pay the bills, dude. It's really nice. So get into our product, pay for the Proven Amazon course. We got to pay the bills. But it's the community is the real asset. That's, you're not surprising me to say that. The real power of this event has been the people in the room with you.
Yeah.
And we want to create that community. That's what we want to maintain the integrity of, is that community of opportunity.
One thing to touch on that you were saying about the replens model and the viability of it, in a business, for me, if you want to come to me and say, Nate, I've got this business idea and I want you to be a part of it and I want you to be involved or whatever, the business has to have 3 things for me. First thing is, it has to be long-term. If I don't see myself doing it long-term, I'm out. Replens, everything that we teach all these great strategies. And the interesting thing about it is replens is just a stepping stone. It'll always be there.
Yes.
Don't stop doing it. Like, I still go to yard sales, estate sales. I was picking the bins at the Goodwill warehouse before they put everything out on the shelves with my son, looking for Nike and vintage clothing and books and stuff. I still do that stuff because I love it. And why stop doing something that actually works? That's
for
like
eBay, for eBay, not for Amazon.
Well, marketplace.
Yeah.
For whatnot.
Right. Yeah, for Facebook Marketplace.
All of these, for Etsy. I am so not one-dimensional into Amazon. If your business relies upon Amazon staying in business, watch out. If your business, if Amazon, all of a sudden one day just said, yeah, we don't like this anymore, we're not doing it, we're shutting down operations, have a nice life, right? Would you still be in business? Because if that's the case, you might need to rethink your strategy a little bit. But I mean, selling on the internet and using the internet creatively to make money is never going away. Think about that. So you need to keep challenging yourself to do what works and keep doing it. And don't, like selling books. How many people here have sold books on Amazon? Love selling books. I sell books on Amazon every day still, right? It's how I started in 2007, right? But that's never going away until all of a sudden they're not printing any more books, which by way of doing that, you know that the value of books is just going to go up and get higher and higher and higher for the next 20 to 30 years as the baby boomers retire and I go and pick those books up at an estate sale. I still do all that stuff. I love it. I have a course called Buy Local, Sell to the World with this gentleman right here, one of my most favorite people. Raise your hand, brother.
Jeff Clark.
Jeff Clark, the master. He makes more money than you going to yard sales, you top level arbitrage sellers at 10% margin. Your average margin's what, like 150% maybe? Mm-hmm. It's insane, right? Books for me is 500% ROI, right? So, you know, books is never going away. I mean, these low hanging fruit strategies, and then you move up to the replens strategy, right? And then from once we master replens, we keep doing it, but I still do books because it still works. It'll always work. Why stop doing something just because you think you're above it, right? But with replens, I still do replen business, right? But then you move from replens up to the next level, which is wholesale and or branded bundles as well, up to the next tier, right? Mm-hmm. And from that next tier, then we start building our own brand, which we start doing a private label product or business. Do not start out there first, whatever you do, please, because you're not going to call me up and say, okay, I failed. I need to do your coaching now. Fix me, because I don't want to. I will, but I don't want. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, you need to explore doing what I do a lot of, which is managing high-level brands. After you're up at that level, now you got the skills to take somebody on and say, yeah, I'm pretty confident after all the research and data that I've collected that I can take your business all the way. I have a new client that over just the last year, I took him from zero, never sold anything on Amazon to $100,000 a month in record time. And it was amazing. It's just amazing to do it and be a part of that story, right? And so that's kind of what you want to do. But still to this day, I'm at Goodwill doing the very lowest rung of this business, which is buy local, sell to the world, right? But it's hard, all of it, right? Ever since we've been in this, it's hard. And everything that you want out of your life is on the other side of hard. Putting God first is hard, although it's not. But you notice that's why people fail the most. You can't have success at anything in life without God. You can't. It doesn't work. I've tried it. I promise you, it doesn't work. I was a militant atheist, right? Until I met Jim Cockrum. And the miracles that we have done together and the stories that I'm part of and the crazy, it's crazy. I could tell you, you wouldn't even believe it if I told you.
They were, a lot of them were at Kang's session last night. How many of you heard Kang? Like, you know, we could story after story after story where God has used this community and just us kind of being at the right place at the right time to have massive impacts in people's lives. And I think as long as we stay humble and you guys keep us humble, it's going to continue.
I can't not be a believer because of the miracles that I've seen, you know? And so, you know, this business really is centered around what you believe, because you are what you believe, right? You become what you think about. And I know that a lot of you are here that do this business, you're probably just obsessed about it. And all the people in your world, right, think you're crazy, right? Oh, you'll never do this, you'll never be that. And these are your dream stealers, right? And I mean, I'll come down off my soapbox here, but I just want you to know that the saddest thing I've ever seen is your dream stealers are usually your closest friends, your relatives, or your spouse, right? Yeah. Just like Journey says, don't stop believing. Believe it true.
Hey, sing that for us. Sing a few bars.
If you're struggling with if you're struggling with that, come to me and I will make you a believer like this business has made me a believer.
Yeah.
You know, mixing business and ministry and you know, it's very, you know, making money at this for me now has just become a fringe benefit. I've paid my dues and sacrificed so that I can make a sacrifice, right? For people, there are two types of people in this world. There are lifters and there are leaners. What are you? I'm going to be a lifter.
Givers and takers. Yeah. One of my mentors says, you know, it's kind of the optimist pessimist thing. Same thing. Lifters, leaners, givers, takers, optimist, pessimist. He says, if you're not sure which you are, you're like, I'm kind of not sure. Guess what? You're 1,000 megawatt beaming orb that blinds everyone with negativity. You just don't realize it. Because being an optimist and having a solution or 2 or 3 or 10 for every challenge is work. And you don't accidentally wake up and do the work required to be that person. You don't kind of stumble into it, Forrest Gump style, into being a person that offers solutions and positivity and a bright future. If you're not sure which you are, you're a beaming orb of negativity and you just don't know it.
Yeah. So when you adapt this mentality of the big blue ocean strategy of what we have access to, right? And that the abundance mentality, and you start to leave behind your fears and your doubts and your anxiety, you start to see the new opportunities, and you'll start to catch on to what we find to be the most exciting and the next big things and the next opportunities. One thing I like, a new platform, and I got kicked off of it because I let my 14-year-old son run the business, but he killed it. We got like $50,000 in Funko Pops. I got him on Whatnot. He's streaming live on the video. He's going viral. All the big people at FedEx and Comic-Con knows who he is. He's known as Funko Pop Connor now and Whatnot. I have a guy that we outsource it all to now that sells all our Funko Pops for us, right there. And you put this little Funko Pop on a little electric Lazy Susan, you put your phone in front of it, and you say, okay, we're going to go ahead and start this one at 99 cents, and we're going to do a 2-minute auction. It's live selling on video. You become a personality, you become an influencer, and it spins around on that little wheel and it goes up. Oh wait, $2, $5, $8, $10, $12, $20. And people know this auction's ending in 2 minutes. And then, oh wow, $250 for something I just bought for 30 bucks, right? Whatnot is a new platform that I'm really excited about. I got hooked after I saw a guy one night. We buy up Pokemon cards, and they do little games, like randomized games on a computer that like enter. It's like the lottery or like a thing, and they can run it like that. And I saw a guy make $20,000 in about 2 hours on Whatnot. But it's a sacrifice. But it's not a sacrifice that you're making for you. It's a sacrifice you're making for others in doing this. It's hard. Right? I talked to him. I'm like, man, that was amazing. He was like, oh yeah, well, you just don't know the other side of this, right? But you know, my son got addicted to it. We started playing with it. I would check out Whatnot if you haven't already, because you can sell anything on that platform. Nothing's gated. In 2 minutes, you can find out if it's a winner or not, right? Really, really neat, right? I like the direction that it's all going, because eventually somebody's going to come along and actually compete with Amazon. I can't wait for these opportunities, because the one thing you have to worry about with Amazon is not whether or not they're going to allow you to sell there. It's if the customers leave Amazon and go somewhere else, then you know it's in trouble. It doesn't seem to be happening, right, Jim?
No, it's not. You know, as we hear, and there's 1,000 good ideas. I mean, I put Whatnot into the category, kind of like eBay. Yeah, there's people doing well. TikTok, there's people doing great. There's people killing it. But is there a predictable, repeatable, reliable, tested, proven system where we could say, hey, you go do these things on Whatnot, you got about an 85% chance of building something really cool. You may not. You may not. Are you going to become an influencer? I know this kid, he just recorded a few videos of him and his brother in his backyard. Now they got 8 million views. Okay, well, you have your kids go do that and see what happens, right? They got 4 views, and 3 of them were their grandma watching it on repeat, right?
But the reality is anyone can believe it true. The playing field has been leveled.
Yes, 100%.
But not just there. I'm excited about live selling. Because this is something that Amazon's doing now. It hasn't really become popular, but instead of sticking something up on Amazon and just letting it go, you get somebody to get in front of a camera to explain it. Here's what it is, and here's what it does, and hey, it's the show, right? And I think the future is really going to be hiring someone to be the face of your business. Because the second thing I look at in a business, not just long term, but it has to be sustainable. And if I have to babysit it, no way. It also has to be passive. Something that can be made passive, right? The second thing is sustainable, meaning that it's or scalable, I'm sorry, right? The first thing was long-term sustainable. Second thing is scalable, and then it has to be made passive. I made my Whatnot business passive when we got it shut. We got shut down because you're not allowed to have somebody under 18 doing a live video sales broadcast, right? I didn't know. I mean, come on. I'm just stupid, man. I didn't go to college. So, right? But my kids, because of this business, they probably won't go to college either because they know they don't need to. They've got this stuff, right? But, I mean, nothing against education and knowledge, direction, and tools, but I've got a guy, Ishan, who took notice of my son, and he goes to every Comic-Con and figured out, oh, wow, your kid's an influencer. Oh, wow, you got $50,000 in inventory and you just got your thing. Hey, let me sell that for you. So we went and we just shipped pallets every week of the new Funko Pops. Like Funko Pop took notice and I'm able to buy from them. In fact, my son, one of my son's buddies, the guy doesn't like me very much because I talk too much, but he loves my son. He gives my son, he gave us a Funko Pop that just, $10,000 Funko Pop. No, you're never allowed to sell this, but I want you to have this. He's the biggest Funko Pop collector in the world. He has the top, I mean, it's crazy what people pay for these things. It's nuts. And we do the collectible. We don't do the normals. I never sell them on Amazon. I would never sell Funko Pops. And even though they got gated, I was like, yes, man, the heartache those people are going to save getting ripped off and sending it to someone and have someone send back the counterfeit one that they bought is a return, right? So I only sell high-end stuff with them, but I send all of our Pops to Ishan, and Ishan does all of our live selling for us, right? Because I've got the source. As long as you have the source on inventory and can source inventory, everything else is secondary. The marketplace, all those things. But I'm excited about Whatnot. I'm excited about Etsy as well. Like where this is going, because sellers are finding out that if they put all their eggs in the Amazon basket, and we've never been an advocate of only do Amazon, only do the one strategy, right? But if you're only going to do one strategy and you're only going to sell on one platform, you need to be in the replens game, and you really have no business doing anything else really until you master that.
Well, multiple income streams sometimes gets confused for, I've got to launch 50 things today. No, you're never going to do anything. It's like chasing 8 rabbits. You're not going to catch any of them. You've got to catch that first rabbit. You've got to do something predictable, stable, steady, and build a system. You can't do everything at once, but that's why we're so system-oriented. The reason Nate can do these things, he's built systems. We've put people in place.
Well, relationships. Because there's no way I could have done what I did on Whatnot without relationships. People don't like me, they like my son. They like Funko Pops. They care less about me. But at the end of the day, it was the relationships that put me in any kind of a position. So the word that you need to kind of burn into your brain is proximity. Am I in proximity? Am I in proximity of God? Because without that, you can't be in, relationships. It's spiritual. Money is spiritual. Every dollar you've ever made is a certificate of appreciation for a job well done because of a relationship that you had. And man, in the Bible, it says man was not meant to be alone, right, Jim?
Exactly. That's right.
So center in on that. Hone in on that.
Well, one of the things I want to leave some time for tonight, guys, you've kind of heard us, and we could go any number of directions, as I think you're picking up on, right? But we want to hear from you guys too. What questions do you have? Because one of my goals here tonight, Nate, is I've already talked to a few people. I'm brand new. I don't know what to do next. I really want to get some clear direction. They've heard 150 ideas before they walked in this door, and they heard 4 more tonight. Right? Like, what do I go home and do? We want to give you some clarity, okay? So I'm going to be that voice of clarity. The most reliable, most stable, most predictable business model that we have seen in the 24 years we've been doing this is replens. Do we want you to stay there the rest of your life? No. But we want you to build it to stability, whatever your definition of stability is. Build a system. We've got people who stay right there and build multiple seven-figure businesses, and you've been bumping elbows with them the whole time you've been here. We get other people who say, you know what, I'm going to systemize this thing at about $50,000 to $80,000. I'm going to put my daughter in charge of it, get a virtual assistant, maybe get some of Nate's team managing the back end, which is a service we offer. And then I'm going to start doing Funko Pops, or I'm going to get back into books because I really like books on eBay. And then you start stacking those relationships and those other income streams. Because there is a 1 in 250 to 300 chance, I don't know what the odds are, that at some point you're going to be suspended for more than a day or two on Amazon and you're going to have to fight to get it back. That might happen. That's a possibility. We're playing in an arena where the big boys write all the rules. If you're going to play on their platform and borrow their traffic, they reserve the right to give you the boot anytime they want to, and you got to fight your way back. Odds are we can get you back. We do it all day, every day. That's why we have Jeff Schick here. I got kicked off, but then I was back on a week later. Right? You hear those stories. But it still makes for a scary week or a scary month. So we don't want you to be all your chips into that arena. We've never been that way. We never will be. But Amazon is where you should start. I don't care what other awesome creative ideas you've heard. We got a children's book author here. We got someone talking about franchises. If it's someone I love, trust, and respect, and I'm going to give them the best advice, and some of our coaches, they came to me and said, Jim, okay, shoot to me straight. What should I do? Spend a year and focus on replens and build something special. Automate it, systemize it, put a good team behind it. That's going to open up a bunch of Amazon doors and a bunch of other relationship doors. And then you do what you feel like you should do. But this is something special. This is the most stability you're going to find, is filling the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses.
That's where the traffic's going, and it's going to stay there.
That's where all the traffic is.
Next decade.
That's where all the action is. That's where half the money spent on the internet every day is, right on Amazon. The other billion websites share the other half of the revenue. You add up the next, 15 competitors to Amazon, and they're a fraction of what Amazon does. It's massive. 1.4 billion ASINs. So it would take us 32 years to look at all of them for a second. And it's growing rapidly every day. That's where you want to be. But we're not an Amazon-only community, so that's why we're excited about other things. But do we have an extra microphone in the back, sound guy, that we could, and then a volunteer to run? I know we've got Jeff. He's always like, I'll do it, but if anyone but Jeff. I'm just kidding.
Just to add to that real quick, Jim, at what time in any place in history, right, could you say, I think I'm going to start an online business, and 24 hours later you're up and running?
We are blessed.
At what time, and I mean, for me, because of what I know now, if you took all my money away from me, all my credit away from me, literally, right? And you took me to any small town in the United States and you left me there for broke, and you came back a year later, would I be broke or would I be making money, do you think?
You'd be doing great.
I would sidle up next to somebody and say, hey, guess what I know? You got some money? You got some time? You got this, that. Let's go.
Let's go.
Right?
Let's turn the money you have into more money. Yeah, because once you know this Amazon platform, once you know this arena, once you're comfortable in this environment, 99% of all the businesses out there with something to sell are frightened by this environment, and you're comfortable in it, and you can guide them in, and you can get paid well to do it. Yeah. So the doors of opportunity fall open. This is the most valuable. Like if you've got kids and you want to teach them something that's going to give them something nice and stable they can fall back on, get them into the Amazon business. Yeah. Amazon has rewritten the rules of e-commerce, and they've got a ton of money and they got a ton of plans, and they're just going to keep getting bigger for the foreseeable future. I'm rooting for Walmart. I want Walmart to give them a serious run for their money and put some pressure on them, but they got a long way to go. Yeah, they got a long way to go.
They have so much attention coming at them this last season before Christmas in the fourth quarter. They stopped allowing people to send stuff into their warehouse because they couldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's coming, right? And that was the thing about our positioning. And, we created the very first course in history on how to sell on Amazon that was available on the internet to buy, right? And we were first to the dance. And I don't think always being first to the dance is always the best, strategy, right? To get those early adopters. That's hard stuff. But, right now, there's never been a better time in history to acquire attention. and for free. There's never been a better time in history, right, for you to be able to use the internet creatively to get all that attention that you want, if you work for it, for free. It's weird. And we sit back and we watch our favorite TV show and neglect that every day. I stopped watching TV. I'm like going to throw my TVs away in my house and get my kids off that stuff, man. It's, they've got enough screen time they're addicted to anyway. But like for me though, you got to have something else besides, kind of keeps your mind straight. But boy, for me, like I can't stop opportunities and platforms that I find, and I call them the spokes in the marketing wheel. Amazon is just one spoke in the marketing wheel, right? eBay is another spoke in your marketing wheel. Walmart is another spoke in your marketing wheel. Shopify, YouTube, Facebook, Insta. See, this wasn't there when you wrote The Silent Sales Machine, which basically was a book. You go to eBay and build a listing for 5 cents and hook, hide, and hold all that traffic back into your fold and get them on your email list, right? That's what that book was about. That is the best-selling book in history for any book that's ever sold about e-commerce. Number one bestseller of all. You're in what? Revision on 13, 14 now?
Version 11 is the latest version of Silent Sales Machine. Yeah, we've updated it 11 times, and it sold well over 1 million copies. Yeah, I've said that.
You're sick of writing a book. You're sick of being an author.
I've said that phrase so many times. I'm like, Silent Sales Machine. But yeah, if you guys want it free, silentjim.com. If you haven't heard this offer before, silentjim.com/free11. Free 11. That's the latest version of it. Want you to have that. But that's how that book started off, was an eBay thing. And Nate thinks of it as spokes. I think of it, and you've used this analogy too, is more like you build a castle, then you build moats. I like the moat analogy. You're building moats around the castle in case there's something that happens. And you're building a second castle, and you're building moats around that castle. That's how you build multiple income streams. One at a time, build a moat, build some protective borders around it. And because the reason I like that slightly better than a wheel analogy is because, like, if you lose the wheel, you've lost the whole thing. But if you got separate castles, almost, right, is how I think of it, because it's possible to do. Multiple income streams are possible, and when I add them up, I've got about 25 income streams. Some of them are great. Some of them had 0 last month, but they'll have a great month here in a few, because I've got good people that I'm working with. Some of those income streams, I'm getting 10% of the revenue and doing very little work, and someone else is doing all the heavy lifting and getting 90% of the revenue. Like the software 3P Mercury with Kang. That was a new income stream. Kang just said, hey, I want to give you guys this software, give it to the community. What do you think we should do with it? I said, you're keeping at least half of it, buddy. No one's going to give us more than half of anything that they've built. So you're keeping half, and let's run with the others. There's a new income stream, 3P Mercury, right? So the affiliate marketing, the podcast, this event, although it's not making as much as you might think. I mean, this is a labor of love, trust me, guys. But we know the momentum that comes from this will lead to partners, new coaches, coaching students, right? So you start adding all those up, and I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to juggle 50 plates and balls in the air and plates spinning. That's not what it feels like at all. If you're doing it the right way, you're making great relationships with good people. Nate keeps the vast majority on his side to pay the coaches to run the coaching operation. I get a small percentage of the coaching sale. That's an income stream for me. And my job is making sure that we keep filling the funnel with good content, right? Which I can do because they produce great success stories, and I just tell those stories on the podcast. That's a flywheel of opportunity. It's serving everyone involved. Everyone who steps into that castle benefits. But that's just one of them, right? Does that make sense? So I like to try to convey the thought process, and not so much, hey, you need to be on TikTok. Hey, you need to be on this platform. Because the thing that everyone in this room has, every one of you, we could ask any one of you to stand up, and you've got connections and contacts and regional advantages that the rest of us could only dream of having. You've got a story that none of us have, and that's a lot of the power of what you have, right? So let's fuel that with a reliable business model, Amazon. Let's get some funds rolling on a very predictable model, and then let's take advantage of those unique gifts and opportunities, your location, your geography, your education, your background, your connections, your neighbors. Your uncle knows the guy who makes whatever, and they're trying to get on Amazon. Talk to them. If you're not the one that helps them with their brand, Bring the brand to us. We'll give you a percent. There's a new income stream. All you did was make the introduction. You see how that works? You can get to the 25 income streams pretty quick when you start thinking that way. What do you want to say? And then let's take some questions.
You know, I've seen a lot of people start from nothing, absolute humble beginnings like I did, and just leverage relationships and build something seven-figure, like Amy Stover, who spoke in this room earlier today. I sat and watched her whole presentation, and I'm just in awe. This girl, she came to me when she was like 23, and in 3.5, 4 years of working with me, she's doing like $1.2 million in sales now.
Hired her family.
And she's just an awesome person, heart of gold, amazing. The most least likely that you would think is a beast, right, at this stuff.
Very quiet, very introverted. You know, as we do with all of our leaders, we say, hey, you're going to be on a leadership journey, which means using your voice, using your face, getting in front of people, sharing what you know. That's going to open up opportunities. You saw me do it this morning with Cheryl. You want to hear Cheryl? You embarrass her again and bring her up here again? No. It was Cheryl, yeah. That was impromptu, but that's what we do here. We help you on that leadership journey.
Yeah, if you're thinking with the right mindset, you'll be opened, and your eyes will be open to see the opportunities that most people won't see in the platforms that are emerging from the internet, that you can use the internet creatively to generate revenue and income. It's astounding to me, because for me, the hard part in my world is saying no.
Yeah,
no to things.
You have to say no for a living.
Man, I just have so many opportunities coming at me all the time, and I've gotten better at it.
There's that great Jack Welch quote that says the difference between successful people and wildly successful people. You ever heard that quote? Successful people and wildly successful. Wildly successful people say no constantly. Successful people consider every good idea that comes along. You've got to learn to say no. This is the path I'm on, turning off the shiny object syndrome. And here's a little test. Do you have the ability to get on Facebook and to jump into the My Silent Team Facebook group, get in, make a post, get caught up, learn a few things, and get off Facebook again, in spite of those videos that are interrupting you? That's the equivalent of me saying, hey, welcome to the gym. Today we're going to lift 10-pound weights like this. Let's see if you can do it. That's 101. Can you do that? Can you hop on social media and use it for business purposes and then get off of it again quickly? It's not easy until you make yourself learn to do it. Our group is on Facebook. When you jump on Facebook to jump into our group, how much of your time, just mentally check yourself. That video looks interesting. They're good at what they do. Zuckerberg knows. He's going to throw a video or two up there to interrupt you. It's like, oh, wow. Okay, how'd they know? I've been thinking about buying a new, rubber ducky for my swimming pool. Like, boom, beautiful rubber ducky video. And off you go into rubber ducky land, right? And you don't even end up coming into the Facebook group. That's a discipline. You need that. That's a warrior's discipline. That's a focus. The Facebook group is there instead of somewhere else, because you spend your time on Facebook, and we want to be within arm's reach, and we want to reach new people that way. So thank you for bearing with us. We drop our community right in the middle of the world of interruptions and distractions and shiny objects. But that's a basic discipline. You're going to need it. And a lot of people tell me with great discipline, they jump in, they use Facebook for that, and they're out. Yeah, that's how you're supposed to use it, right? That's 101 level stuff on focus. And we could all do better with that. But that's what you're going to need, that discipline. So don't lie to yourself and say, yeah, I worked 3 hours today, when what you really did was bounce around Instagram, Facebook, goofing off a couple videos. No, focus in. You got to lock in. Blood, sweat, tears, risk, work, sacrifice, discipline required. You're trying to build a real business. You want to look back 5 years from now and go, I didn't waste that time. And if you do that, you're going to build something beautiful.
Dude, I love this, dude. I love to watch you and be in this moment with you. We're riffing. We didn't plan anything. We just showed up and said, this is what we're going to talk about, and that's it.
No, I talk from the heart, man. This is
the guy. I've worked for all the big guys over the last 30 years, and none of them are on this level. And
because Nate, because what we're doing. No, thank you, but guys, there's a lot at stake. There is a lot at stake. There are marriages in this room at stake if we don't figure this out. There's kids that aren't going to get to spend time with their dad if you don't figure this out. And this is serious stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I appreciate the applause and the feedback, but you got to go home and do the work. You got to decide if you're going to lock in or not. And part of me gets frustrated because we're put up right alongside these organizations that throw these shiny object garbage at you constantly, and the Lamborghinis and the piles of cash, and we're lumped in with them. And I'm sitting here saying, we've been doing this for 24 years. We've coached 10,000 people. We have the only e-commerce podcast with hundreds of interviews with our successful students, many of whom have become coaches, and we're still getting lumped in with clowns. That's not right.
Longest running Amazon conference, 13th year.
We've been doing it twice as long as Amazon has.
But you know what? I still feel, yeah, absolutely. But I still feel like we're just like not even, you know, just at the, not even close to the top of the mountain.
But between you and me and the people here, I've got a little righteous indignation about the whole thing because we deserve more attention than we're getting, not me. I don't need it. My ego doesn't need any of that.
We have no use for followers.
I would like to vanish into the back of the crowd and everyone forgets I was ever there, to be honest. I just want a platform that leaders can step on, more creative people than us, more creative than we'll ever be, stepping into the spotlight, telling their stories. We're creating an ecosystem. We're creating a community here. That's what we want to do here. But we need some warrior-hearted people to get serious about it and do it with us. Yeah. We've done a lot, but we've just gotten started. There's a lot of clowns out there with a lot of garbage to sell, and that's what we're battling against. We need advocates. We need serious warriors. So it's a call to action. I recognize that smile you're giving me, dude. That's
dude,
okay.
I love it, dude. You fire me up. You
fire
are
me
one
up,
of the best inspired leaders I've ever experienced. I've worked for Stephen Covey, Dan Kennedy, Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Dennis Waitley.
If my name becomes that recognized, this
I
whole
don't
thing
ever want your name
will
to
be.
get that recognized.
I don't either, because it becomes less effective.
Quality, bro.
Exactly.
I want to keep it small. I want to talk to a room this size.
It's time for me to retire. If I walk through my hometown Walmart and more than 3 people know who I am, it's time for me to get out.
You know, because I want to do this for the next 30 years. I love this. This is my heart. There was a time where, I won't talk about it, but something happened in this community, the first time ever that there was venomous culture injected into it. And it broke my heart. I didn't, I'm an emotional guy, but I sobbed. I cornered Jim and got in an elevator with him, and I almost just like fell to my knees and went, Jim, there's venom in this culture. Something happened, and it broke my heart because this means so much to me. So much more than a profit or it's a calling, and to be able to have somebody go, man, we were making 35 grand a year and you told me how to do diabetic test strips. One strategy, I'm making 300 grand a year now. You've changed my life. Yeah. That to me is more valuable than any amount of money. It's so cool to see the faces and the friends and come back for the 13th year and have people that actually are here. Yep, year 13,
I had a guy come up to me.
Relationships. It's just
we were speaking. I was invited to speak at an event in Hong Kong, and I had a guy walk up to me. And let's not give him the whole backstory. It's not necessary right now because it's not relevant for you guys. But this is a cool story. That he came up and said, "Hey, I just want to say thank you. Introduce myself to you. You don't know who I am, but thanks to something that I learned from you and your organization, I made $100 million over the past 8 years, and it's just a pleasure to meet you. It's an honor to meet you." He shook my hand.
It's so fun.
How much money do we make off that guy? Very little, if any. I don't know. Probably none. But that's not the point.
That feeling is on that. The feeling of having someone come to you.
There's a currency there.
It's on the level of holding your baby for the first time ever, skin to skin.
Yeah.
Or that you get addicted to it.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
You could do it too. It's not like
I've had people come up to me. It hasn't happened at this event yet, but at most of the other events we've had, people come like, "Hey, Jim, I'm sorry, I got a confession. I've never paid a dime for anything that you guys do. I listened to the podcast, I hung out in the group, made some friends in the Facebook group, launched a business, left my corporate job. We make, whatever the big number is. Thank you for doing what you do." And those are the best stories. Because what I always say is, in those moments, how much faster do you think it would have happened if you'd have just gotten a stinking coach? And then you go, "Oh, I just shaved 5 years off of it." And I'm like, have you done the math yet? Come on.
I'm not going to twist your arm to do what you need to do.
We're not. But
I'm not going to sell you because you don't want to be sold. You want to buy something.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
So when
for
when you love, trust, and respect us, once you find your people, you find your purpose, right, Nate? I love that one.
Yeah.
Find your people, find your purpose.
Yeah.
We want to be those people.
Yeah.
We need to take some questions, man.
Yeah. Those three things, though. Scalable. Is it long-term sustainable? Is it scalable? Am I going to hit the glass ceiling and that's as far as I can go? And more importantly, I think that it has to become passive. Can I teach somebody else to do it so I can go golf?
Build a system.
But be careful what you wish for, because I did that. I made it totally passive, and I went on it was about 7 months it took me of golfing, 6 months, right?
Before you figured out you were bad at golf.
Golf course, it's the most beautiful day. I'm in the zone. I'm actually hitting the ball good. I'm hitting under 100.
No,
right?
he's never.
Like I'm hitting under 100, okay? And I'm miserable. Absolutely miserable. You know why? Because I wasn't serving anybody. So people that get depressed, they aren't serving anybody, and there's no better way to serve people than using the internet creatively. Okay, let's get some questions.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Let's do it. I think we can hold our breath long enough to let a question or two pop in. Are you going to run the microphone for us, Avon? Okay, I see a hand up over here. We're probably going to get a few bouncing around. My beautiful daughter, Avon. Thank you, Avon. Keep it nice and close.
Thanks for everything. I was at Jimmy's session, was that today? Earlier today.
I think so.
And he talked about 60 different selling strategies. And I wondered which ones you would recommend just off the top of your head. What did I say? Oh, sourcing strategies. Yeah.
Sourcing strategies.
Sourcing
yes,
strategies.
Of course,
yeah. For beginners, like which are the ones that really you'd recommend to start with?
Yeah, to clarify your question, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. So we're talking about the Amazon replens model, getting started on Amazon, and there's just so many incredible sourcing strategies, all right? I mean, if we brought 3 or 4 of our coaches up here and just started rattling them, I'm sure we get more than 50 or 60. Let me just give you one super low-hanging fruit. Like, most people don't realize that you can go do this right now in your hotel room. Some of you are going to be like, oh my goodness, how do I not know this? It's so simple. Get on Keepa and look for a minimum of 50 sales per month, that yellow line in the middle graph, right? Minimum 50, put 50 in there, you can find it. And then look for 0 drops per month. Well, how could that be? How could it have 0 drops per month in selling? Well, because Keepa tracks 1.4 billion ASINs, but they don't track all of them. So on some of them, all they know is what Amazon has told them, which is it's selling at least 50 times a month, or you'll see some with 100, some with 500, some with 1,000 a month sales. But 0 drops per month? Well, it just means Keepa's not tracking that particular ASIN on the rank. So we've got a product that no other seller is ever going to see if they're looking at the number of drops per month, right? At any given time, every day, you're going to see a boatload of them. There's one, right? I could do that. We could do that for 3 hours. Me, in particular, I love, and you've heard me talk many, many times, especially when someone comes to me and says, Jim, I just can't find anything to sell. And you can hear them, pulling tissues out of their box and wiping their eyes. I've been looking all day. What they really were doing is playing on Facebook and then Instagram, and they spent 10 minutes on Keepa, and then told me they spent 4 hours research. But we'll leave that aside for a second. Get on Keepa. Put in 0 FBA sellers, and 12 drops per month. What you're going to find is a whole bunch of merchant-fulfilled ASINs that have 0 fast delivery options. If you do that search right now, someone wants to pull Keep up on their phone, you're going to find around 2-point-something million ASINs that meet that description. If you'd have done it 8 months ago, you'd have found less than that. It's an up and to the right opportunity. So there's 2. Use a tool like Nepeto. It's got 40 different features, right? Get into your favorite category on Keepa. Just look for underserved ASINs. Okay, so instead of saying 0 FBA sellers, what if we say it has 2 or fewer FBA sellers and 12 drops? There's not many ASINs where 2 FBA sellers are going to take care of a fast-moving product. So maybe 2 FBA sellers and let's say 20 drops. That's going to bring up millions of options. The way I like to use Keepa, here's a good tip for you. I made a video for my team here not too long ago about this. I like to drill that number down to tiny, like 8 ASINs. I mean, I add a filter, keep cranking up the filters until I've got like 8 or 10 ASINs. And then I expand my circle. If I was looking at 30 drops or more to get 10 ASINs, I might drop that number down to 25. Okay, now I've got 230 ASINs, and I'm gonna go research those. So I start with this tiny number. I use the Keepa filter till I get a tiny number, and then I change my filters to grow a slightly bigger circle. So how many strategies is that? I'm not sure. This is being recorded. So people who say, yeah, I know how to use Keepa. No, you don't. I don't know how to use Keepa. I've spent hundreds of hours playing with Keepa, and I'm still learning and talking to them and making observations. They added standard deviation not too long ago. Well, standard deviation, what a nerdy statistical thing. How could that possibly help you? Well, the standard deviation on the buy box tells you, is this a bouncy buy box that's swinging from $5 to 50 to 5 to 50? There's ASINs that look like that. How can you find an ASIN that has a bouncy buy box where the thing is all over the place? Well, the standard deviation would tell you, because anyone can tell you the average. That's easy. And they used to tell us that, and they do. But I don't want to just know the average. I want to know how bouncy that thing is, because if it's all over the place, I can price my stuff high knowing it's probably going to come back up there, right? So just using the standard deviation field, that's my favorite way to search a Keepa data set, by the way, is by standard deviation, high dollar to low. The best opportunities are going to float. We asked Keepa to put that in, and they did. Same with how many times per month is Amazon out of stock. I don't want to know the percentage of time Amazon's out of stock. I want to know how many times Amazon ran out. And if I hop on those ASINs where Amazon ran out 10, 15 times last month, wide open opportunity quite often. So I could do this for 2 hours, guys. But what you need to do is keep studying, keep learning, keep playing, get your own strategies, get your own techniques, get your own categories that you're familiar with, get your own tools that work for you. Everyone's business is going to be different. So there's a few. I'm not going to give you 50, okay? Good question. Yeah. Good question. Thank you.
Yeah, my take is I love reverse sourcing. I love using Nepedo to source items online, right? And then take that list of products that it finds and then throw that into 3P Mercury. You import that list in there, and then 3P Mercury tells you, yeah, that's a good one. No, that's not a good one. And I watch them for a long time, right? Because you could filter it, because some of them die, right? They're like, oh, that was a good one, and it tanked. It's not a good one. But I have 3P, like old buy lists that you can buy from stuff. Run those buy lists through 3P Mercury and let it filter out, oh, that one died, but now it's back. It tells you when they come back. But I love the reverse sourcing, but I like walking down. I'll go to Target and walk down the toothpaste aisle and turn things around and film it with my phone. I'll film the whole aisle. I'll take pictures of everything. I'll turn it around so you can see the barcode on it. I'll film it, and then I'll take that video home and I'll say, hey, VA in the Philippines, I want you to do the research on everything that I just scanned down this aisle. I don't scan barcodes and go, oh, sometimes I do. But I send it to them and I say, tell me what was good down that aisle. And sometimes they have nothing, right? Go down the cereal aisle. Go to Kohl's and look at the bras. Oh, gosh.
Kohl's.
I know that sounds weird. I know that sounds weird.
Creeper
but
alert.
I promise you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm into cosmetics too.
No, seriously,
right?
There's a line you cross, Nate. There's a line, no, in a good way. Jeff, you crossed this line a long time ago. I know there's a good number of us where I don't care what's in that cart. I don't care if it's a 14-year-old, 16-year-old, high school cute girl doing the checkout thing. I'm reeling it right up there. These are just products I'm selling. I don't care. You've got to get to the point. It's full of Depends diapers. Let's go, man. Right up to you go. Who's that for? They're all for me. I don't care, right? You got to cross that line where you're just like, you know what? This is what I do. I've got a bigger purpose, right?
You're checking out with
You've done that.
Adult diapers.
Yeah, I've checked out with a cart full of adult diapers before. Absolutely, I have.
That's a good one.
Jeff, what's your best?
I went up to the checkout. I had a stack of condoms. A stack of pregnancy tests.
Yes, there you go. See? Yeah, exactly. See? You got to cross that line. If you're afraid of being a little embarrassed, you're going to lose out on opportunities. Yeah, absolutely. And we also, I haven't done it in quite some time, but it's just another product, man. I've just got a cart full of $20 bills. I don't know what you see, but that's all I see is a cart full of $20 bills.
I very rarely sell anything I'm passionate about.
Yeah, no, that's the worst advice. Oh, that's such terrible. Do something you're passionate about. Sell something you're interested in. No, please, stop. No one cares what you're interested in. There's only one person that's ever lived that was cared about what you're interested in, and that was your mom, maybe, and she was probably faking it. No one cares. I told that to a group of graduating high school seniors once. I did. It was a small Christian school. I was invited to speak at their commencement, and I said, guys, I'm going to give you some very valuable advice. Nobody cares what you're passionate about. Nobody cares. If you come running up to me and say, guess what I'm passionate about? Guess what I want to be? Nobody cares.
The trauma.
What we want to know is, how are you going to use those gifts? How are you going to use those gifts and talents that God put inside of you to serve the rest of us? That's what we need to know. And now everybody cares. Now everyone, including your mom, is very interested in hearing what you have to say. I think God has gifted me with a talent to serve others by doing this. Now that we can talk about. But what if you're interested in sitting on the bank of a river and fishing all day? I'm passionate about that. You're not going to support your family. No one cares you're passionate about that, right? Do you get in business? No one cares what your passions and interests are. No one owes you anything. You've got to find a way to turn what you do into serving others well. And now you're going to get those certificates of gratitude that Nate talked about. People are going to line up to say thank you. And I say all the time, I don't care if you're scooping poop out of people's yards. If you've got a line of people saying thank you, giving you certificates of gratitude, you're going to become very passionate about that thing. And you're going to hire a team, and you're going to have trucks with dogs and cute little emojis, and you're going to be the man that's proud of how people's lawns look. And you're going to know all the details, and you're going to be very proud of what it is that you do. Even though other people are, I could never lower myself to that. You get a line of people lined up to say thank you for anything, and you're going to be very proud of what it is that you do. We're built for that, right? So it's not about what you're passionate about. No one grows up thinking, I want to scoop poop. No one grows up thinking, I want to be a dry cleaner. No one grows up thinking, I want to, whatever it is most of us end up doing. But you become passionate about it because you're good at it, and people line up to pay you for it.
I like boring and weird.
Yes, amen. It's the era of boring and weird. Yes. Question back there, Avon.
Nathan, this is for you.
Okay.
You said you were excited about Etsy, and I was hoping you could elaborate on that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Joann's just went out of business. Did anybody go buy all the yarn like me? Oh yeah, yarn. On Amazon it does well, but on Etsy there's just certain things. Core mats, because they want to make their own decorative core mats. That's a really good one. I mean, I'll just reveal your niche all day long, and you guys will walk out here and go, Nate just outed my product. But I don't care, because of the abundance, there's a million more where that came from. But Etsy is a special little thing, right? It's not for everybody, but the craft niche, I'm deeply embedded into that with all kinds of different cool little things that we do over there. What's funny is I have coaching students that come to me, and we're cranking on Etsy, and they're like, let's get you into Amazon. We got to get to Amazon. They don't realize there's way more traffic going to Amazon, and there's a killer opportunity there, but they are so enamored with Etsy. Etsy has really taken over that space. They've taken the market share. Like, Amazon tried to make a run at Etsy on handmade. So Amazon has a whole category called handmade. There's a whole lot of things you can't do with handmade on Amazon that you can actually do on Etsy. Etsy is very niche, and that's why I love it. I like to niche down, right? Like, I like certain, I'm not going to get out what yarn I like, but there are certain yarns that people clamor for. My wife's mother is a district regional manager for Joann's, and she's out of a job. So if you're in Albuquerque and you need somebody cool to work for you, let her know. But Etsy and knitting. Well, we did. Brian and Robin here. Tell us about knitting, right? Knitting. You would think your grandma knitting doilies. Okay, it's very collectible niche. You can sell all kinds of cool things, but like eBay is vintage collectible, stuff that is highly collectible and PSA rated. But Etsy is, tchotchkes and vintage and decor and just fun, artsy stuff. Now, are you going to make $1 million doing it? If that's your goal, you're probably, you got to have a different purpose there. But you can really, I mean, if you are passionate about those things that are highly collectible, we're not saying don't ever do that. But if you're into it and you love it and your hobby and there's an audience for it, there's a good chance there's a lot of people out there that'd be interested. And if you know about it, a lot of this revolves around learning about the story of a product and what it is and why people want it. And then figuring out, is it too saturated or not? That's the whole key. But Etsy, all day long. I would never discourage anybody from selling on Etsy and going down that road. I have clients that's all they do is Etsy. And they're still figuring out, what, Amazon, what? No, I'm making a ton of money over here. I don't want to get distracted.
I want to tell them about Ladybug Nancy. I haven't told her story.
Oh, yeah.
She talked about crafts. And we had a lady that we coached. It's been quite a while back, and she's still doing great. She checks in with us all the time. But she was crafting, making wreaths, decorative door wreaths, the birds and the flowers and all that, and putting on the door, and selling them for $60 to $80 at a time on eBay. And she came to us and hey, I want to learn how to make my wreaths faster and build a team to build more wreaths. And I discouraged her from that. And I said, because I think it's you and it's your touch, and you're gonna have a hard time. You're an artist. You're gonna have a hard time getting people to do it the way you like it. How about we try this? I want you to capture yourself on video doing what you do and sell that. Basically train your competition how to do what you already do. And she was resistant and didn't like it and didn't want to do it. Jump forward, we dragged her kicking and screaming. And to this day, she'll tell you, we had to drag her. But she finally started doing that. And now she's got, I don't know, last time I looked, way over 1 million views on YouTube. And she's got a great crew and she's built all these videos. And she doesn't do much at all anymore. She sells how to build wreaths and how to build crafts and how to build a business around. So she created an audience of people who are interested in what it is that she did, rather than just doing the stuff herself.
Wreaths. She was stuck in the wreaths, and she suffered from some built-in
fibromyalgia, and she's like, I'm having a hard time keeping up. I got to get some help to make more wreaths. I'm like, I don't think you need to make more wreaths. I think you need to make more content.
Yeah, her name's Nancy Alexander. Look her up. She's way cool.
Ladybug Nancy. I had someone at our church come up to me and said, hey, are you the guy that knows Nancy, Ladybug Nancy Alexander? I'm like, yeah, I know her. Yeah, she didn't realize that I had anything going on online. She just knew Nancy knew me, and she thought, that's so cool, you actually know Nancy? I'm like, yeah, she was my student, but I know it's her you want to meet, right? Someone at my church had come up to me and said that, yeah. And I thought that was I love when the student just explodes and just gets out and does something big and includes us in their story. We've seen it happen so many times. I want that for you guys. Yeah. That's our heart. That's our dream for you. I want you to be so famous and known that we're just that little, oh yeah, I remember when. Yeah, give a shout out to those guys.
Yeah, a big winner, just going back one more time, a big winner for us was quilting and sewing patterns and wool pressing mats from New Zealand. Mm-hmm.
This gentleman had a question here, Avon.
Jim, I must have missed this. So when you were talking about the zero FBA seller scan.
Yes.
What about Amazon being on the listing? Is that a deterrent? I thought that might be
I'm not going to go into the weeds too far, but sometimes Amazon is a deterrent. Just because you see that orange shading, though, does not mean stay away, which is what most sellers think. When they see the orange shading, stay away, Amazon's dominating. No. A lot of times, Amazon's dominating the buy box, but they're only dominating it in some warehouses. And other sellers, you'll see, here's what I like to see. When I see orange shading in the top box, I go down to the bottom box and I look at the seller count. And if that seller count is having a party, up and down and down, that means other sellers are selling out of their stuff. So how is it Amazon's getting all the buy box and other sellers are coming and going? What's going on? Well, Amazon's winning the buy box a lot. They may be getting 90% of the sales on a product that sells, say, 1,000 times a month. But there's a lot of other sales to be had serving the understocked warehouses, meaning you come in, FBA, price it high, and wait. You're not going to sell 50 a day like Amazon is, but you're going to sell 5 or 6 a month at a higher price than they are because you're the only unit of inventory sitting in the warehouse where Amazon distributed the inventory out. Amazon itself rarely has enough inventory to service all 200 warehouses with adequate stock. to take care of the shoppers who want speed. They don't want to wait for 2 or 3 days, which is why you hear stories in our community of students who've gone through our coaching program and understand this. It's drilled into their head and they get it. They'll be the highest priced seller on ASINs that have, in some cases, 200 sellers. And they're the highest price. And they're making a ton of sales.
And when they receive your shipment, they're going to put it, when they receive my shipment,
yes,
they're going to put it in the places
yes,
where they know they're weak,
yes,
even though they're dominating the buy box.
Absolutely they will. Amazon isn't trying to win the buy box. Amazon's trying to sell as many products to as many people as possible. And if they've got all their inventory sitting on the East Coast and you send them 50 units or 10 units or 5 units, they're going to disperse them out to the rest of the country because this other inventory is still getting unpalleted or whatever. It's very rare. There's very few ASINs on Amazon where Amazon truly is dominating with tens of thousands of units, well stocked in every warehouse. It's actually quite rare.
The only thing about that is it's certain categories. They will dominate, like shoes, clothing, apparel. They won't let you win the buy box. They'll be.
But you don't have to win the buy box to win sales.
No, you don't. But
you do
think
not
about
have to
this.
win the buy box.
When you see Amazon on something and it's Amazon is on it, I'm not going to jump in on it. But what do they know that you don't? There's a reason why they're on it. And you got to go back to, we don't sell products. We sell keywords. And what is it that I need to know about that product and the keywords that revolve around that create that much demand? And oh, wow, there's nobody selling a 3-pack, a 5-pack, and so it's, how do you look at it through the creative lens of like, okay, I don't sell products, I sell keywords, and where are the keywords the least saturated and where are the gaps that nobody's filling? Where are the problems that I can solve? And wow, Amazon showed me that because they're on it. Not necessarily that listing, but that keyword. There's something about it. You start learning more about keywords and those products and the story. So that's a great question though, because I hop on stuff that Amazon's on all the time, and I just attest and do things. So
yeah, I challenge you to start noticing the orange shaded Amazon dominated ASINs that have other crazy sellers that are priced high. And you think, oh, they're never selling anything. But to look at the seller count at the bottom. If it's bouncing, they're making sales. And you could hop on there with a high price too. Okay. Yeah, let's get a couple more questions. And I know we're kind of running out of time. If anyone needs to go, Nate and I have plenty of energy. You want to stick around, want to serve you guys well, we're going to stick around and do this. So, if you wanted to let yourself out, if you're wanting to get some good sleep, I completely understand. You're not going to hurt our feelings. But we do want to stick around for those of you who've been patiently waiting to ask your questions, okay? So, yes, sir.
If you can't identify the individual warehouse quantities, how do you determine an underserved ASIN?
Yeah, the question is, how do you find an underserved ASIN if you're unable to know how many units are sitting in each warehouse? And it's not a matter of knowing how many units each warehouse has. You don't need to know that. All you need to know is Amazon has 200 warehouses. And if I see 2 FBA sellers and I am able to see how many units they have, one of them has 11 units, the other one has 9 units. So between the two of them, there's only 20 units in Amazon's FBA network. So 200 warehouses, 20 units of inventory. Do I need to know where those 20 units are parked? No. All I know is if I send in my 5 units, Amazon's going to spread them out to the empty warehouses, meaning the people who live near those warehouses are now going to have a fast shipping option, whereas they didn't before.
Okay, so you just look at the monthly sales, and if they're selling 200 a month, and there's only 40 in inventory, it's underserved.
Yeah, the bigger the gap between those two numbers of how much we know it sells or how much we're pretty sure it sells and how much inventory is in Amazon's warehouse network, the bigger that gap is, the biggest gap you can have is 0 sellers with 0 units and a fast-moving product. That's a huge gap.
That's a huge indicator.
Yeah,
In
so
the
jump on it
Keep
with a
chart,
high price.
Do this. Open up the Keep It chart. Go down to the history. You can go, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, lifetime, it'll give you a number and show you how long this listing has been on Amazon. I always click on that, right? And then I can go all the way back to the beginning and I can see the whole story of what's happened. And if you see it running out of stock continually over that whole history, if it's running out of stock, that's one of the good indicators of an underserved ASIN as well.
Oh, for sure.
If it's selling well and running out of stock, right? Fill in those gaps.
Questions? We got one back there. You see it, David? Who else has a question after this one? We'll take 2 or 3 more. One all the way in the back. That'll be number 1. And who else? Right here, number 2. Who else has a question? 3 right up here. All right. We'll see where we go. I see the 4th in the back too. Okay. We'll take those 4 and then we'll probably start to wrap up, guys.
Thank you, guys. I'm just curious if you guys have seen commonalities, like you talked about the glass ceiling. I feel like I've experienced that. Like when you look back, have you noticed like commonalities at why that happens? And like, is that like an interpersonal thing, or like how have you guys observed those?
A glass ceiling. Give me a
like
little more description. I don't want to answer the wrong question.
Yeah, so personally, I've noticed that when I do a lot of work on myself, like the business goes to the next level. And like something I struggle with for years, like I've been stuck for 2 years, and then something happens in my personal life and I work on it, and I just like break through to the next level. And so I'm wondering if you guys have seen
personal
something
development
like that.
question.
I'd love to take a quick shot at that one and give it to you, Nate. You are on a leadership journey. I don't care what your business is. Once you step into that arena, you've started a leadership journey. And having a good mentor is one of the best ways to take that journey. But there's going to be some very common elements. You're going to be how intentional are you about making new connections? Are you adding new people to your network constantly? Are you attending events like this? Are you expanding your arena of ideas? Are you putting systems in place this is number 2, by constantly asking yourself, am I the only person that could be doing this or is there someone that should be doing this instead of me, right? Those are 2. Am I considering new ideas? I call it disciplined distractibility is my phrase. I'm disciplined. The things that got to get done, they're going to get done. But if a great idea drifts across my radar from a good friend or an opportunity, I'm going to be distracted momentarily to consider, is this a good idea or a right idea? I'm going to quickly categorize it as one of the 2. If it's just a good idea, put it in my journal, it's gone. If it's a right idea at the right time, all right, I'm going to build some time into my day, into my schedule. I'm going to talk about and consider this thing. So that's 3 things that have helped me to get through. Accountability of some kind of, you've got to have someone that's willing to ask you. And I had a great session today with someone who's willing to ask me some really hard, it's going to be a good question when they lead with, I hope this doesn't offend you. Right? You want someone that's asking you those kind of questions. I hope this doesn't offend you, but then whatever they say. And you don't go on defense when they ask. You want those people in your life. You need those people. That's how you break through. But it takes, Tiger Woods has a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach. Steph Curry has a shooting coach that watches every shot he takes and corrects. Even the most, I love basketball, and I love, he'll correct his right toe a quarter inch to the left. He's like, man, your toe is drifting out to the right too far. Your left toe needs to come in. It's meticulous. The stuff that you won't notice. You don't know where your blind spots are. So you got to have someone that can ask you those hard questions, be involved. So if you're not doing those things intentionally, or if you don't have a coach, right, that's a great way to break through. But it's almost always going to involve bringing more people into your life. Almost every single time, all those things, bringing more people in, bringing more of the right people into your life. They bring the right ideas, right? So more people. That's the short answer. More people. If you're hitting the ceiling, you have more. You don't have the right people yet. That doesn't mean the people you have are wrong. It means you need more people, right?
Any obstacle in your life, right? Is just because you don't have people to help you.
Who, not how.
That's your biggest obstacle.
Who?
Is you don't have people to help you. Don't be afraid to ask for it. But look, your question is an excellent question. And if you were my coaching student and we were on a call and you asked me that, I would say that your business volume and sales and your profitability is just what you believe you can make. That's all you believed that you could make, right? In sales, I used to be in sales, and the volume that I would do every week would just be my belief. And there was a time where I just took the governor off, and man, I'd set my goal so high, and I'd never reach it, but boy, I did way better than everyone else. You reach for the stars. You might not get that far, but you got to try anyway. Now, what's happening in your business is you're growing and you're learning, and you grow, and then you hit a plateau. You're plateauing, right? You hit a plateau and you stay there and you're stuck there and you're frustrated and gosh, how do I get off this plateau? What has to happen is you need to have somebody come along that's outside of your periphery, or you need to figure it out, but something needs to change in your business for it to get off that growth plateau, and you figure out what needs to change, and then it grows again and it hits the next plateau. And then you get stuck there until you figure out what needs to change to hit the next plateau. And it's a series of plateauing, and you have to figure out what needs to change each time. And that's why people go from here to here with coaching, where people that don't do coaching, they go from here to here, right? Going farther, faster. I would say that like you use the athlete analogy. How many athletes do you guys know of that are pro athletes that don't have a coach? I can't think of one. Maybe there's a couple ping pong players out there, but but they all have a coach. That's why they're a professional, if you want to be a professional. So yeah, I'm probably the biggest advocate because I've seen it work. I've been coached. I've been mentored. I never had a breakthrough until someone sent the elevator down for me and said, hey kid, come here. I can't sit here and watch you flail in the gutter anymore. Come on, let me help you out. I got lucky. Someone sent the elevator down for me. But I can tell you though, that plateauing, it's frustrating. You have to just believe it true and put yourself in a position where you have the right people around you. You are the sum of the top 5 people you surround you with, and those top 5 people should be giving you the diagnosis on what is keeping you on the plateau that you're on.
Yeah, the people you're hanging out with and the content you're consuming. You show me that, I'll show you where you'll be in 5 years, right? I'm not the one that came up with that, but it's true. Show me who you're hanging out with, show me the content you're consuming, I'll paint your path. I'll show you right where you'll be. Yeah.
Get with me. I'll figure out what you need to change to get you off that plateau, bro.
Mm-hmm. Question.
Yeah, thank you. Earlier, you kind of, this is kind of echoey, but you alluded to this.
Nice and
you
tight.
alluded.
There you go.
There you go. You alluded to the idea that a lot of people will succeed if they follow the path, but a lot of people won't follow the path and they won't succeed. What's the best way to make sure that we're on the path that succeeds?
Yeah, I've been asked that question many times. I was asked on a radio show here about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and I knew instantly. The guy said, hey, you might have to think about it. You guys have coached a lot of people. No, I knew instantly what the answer to that question is. Raise your hand if you know what the answer is. You've heard me say it before. Anyone know the answer to that question? Yeah, someone up towards the front. Maybe. Okay, no, go ahead. What's the answer?
Relationship.
Yes, nailed it, done. If you're intentionally pursuing relationships, your odds of success is astronomical. If you think you can do it yourself, your odds of success is abysmal. It is 100% the most effective way for us to measure who you're surrounding yourself with. We just answered his question, a very similar version of your question. What if I'm hitting the ceiling? How do I know if I'm going to see, who you're surrounding yourself with? Are you growing? We love to call it the 3 a.m. list based on my mentor, Daniel Lappin. He's the first one who told me about it. How many people, if you went into your room tonight and started writing down the number of people, the names of the people that you could call at 3 a.m. tonight, feel free to test it out if you want. Just call all of them. And see how many of them answer the phone and go, oh, Jim, it's you. Yeah, of course. Like, wait, what do you need, man? 3 a.m., this must be serious. Versus... Yeah. Hey, someone asked what my phone number is. All of our coaching students have it. Raise your hand if you're a coaching student who has my phone number. There you go, right? 3 a.m. friends. Hey, if any of you guys, if I texted you at 3 a.m. and you happen to see it, would you be like, I can wait? Or would you be like, oh, wow, that's Jim. I mean, this must be something. Maybe he's in my hometown. Maybe his car broke down a couple miles from me and he looked it up in his database and he needs a little help. You'd be like, yeah, dude, that's cool, man. You've poured into my life. You've served me well. Yeah. The bigger that list is, the more intentional you are about building that list. My mentor convinced me a long time ago, that is the capacity for your business and financial success, which is why, your average 18-year-old has 3 names on there. It's mom, maybe dad, and his brother. And, he's got a friend, but I don't know, it's iffy, right? But as you get older, that list should be growing constantly. So your capacity for wealth and success in business should be growing constantly. That is the number one factor that separates the people who do well from the people who don't. And I didn't come up with that. This is thousands of year old biblical wisdom. in that statement, which you could back it up with scripture if you gave me time. I could talk about it for an hour, but I won't. So yeah, that's the number one thing. It's not the strategy. It's not your grit. It's not your determination. It's not your intelligence. It's not your demeanor. It's not am I outgoing or am I quiet and shy? It's, are you adding with intentionality to your list of people that love, trust, and respect you, that 3 a.m. list? Yeah. 100%. I've seen it over and over. We've coached 10,000 people, and I can think of very few exceptions.
If my observation is the difference between the people that fail and they succeed, is the people that succeed are okay with failure. The leading cause of success is failure.
Test constantly.
And if you can, now let me just kind of rephrase that a little bit, right? Where you want to fail forward fast, and you don't want to be afraid of that, because that's where you learn and get on that right path. Is, then bend down that road. I know more ways of not how to do it right than to do it actually right now, right? But, those little small failures really, lead you to the wins. But you only fail when you quit. That's the true failure. That's the only way you really fail at this. You only fail when you quit, right? But failing forward fast, that term, we want to have that quick failure. You want to pick yourself up. And that's what determines whether or not you're going to be successful. If you can pick yourself up, put a smile back on your face, put the right mindset back on, and continue to go forward and trudge through the mud, and be willing to pay that price and make that sacrifice for yourself, so you can make that sacrifice for others. Much like another guy that I know whose initials are also JC.
Changing the word fail from a bad thing to a good thing, you've got to make that transition. When the cost of failure is 0 and the potential upside of failure is infinite, beautiful, new, wonderful things, embrace failure. We were all, most of us, over the age of 35, 40 or so, we were raised in a school system that failure was bad. No. In the era of e-commerce, failure means you're testing, you're trying new things. This one cost me $5, this one cost me $3. The reason people jump into selling on Amazon, I'm afraid to send in my first product. Like, what's your worst case scenario? You're gonna lose $8. Send it in. But I'm afraid to fail.
So many people.
It's $8. Drop your price to $6 and sell it. And so what? You lost an hour of your day, but you learned how to ship and you lost $3. Like, don't be afraid of failing. You got to be testing constantly. That's how the internet changed business. It made failure not scary anymore. Before the internet, failure in business meant this thing I've been building for 20 years with investors and a team of marketers, and we built a building, and it is a years long business plans, and failure in business was a big deal before the internet. Now, if you're not failing constantly, you're not doing it right? So yeah, failure, list of relationships, those are good. I mean, we could write a whole book on just those two, and that's probably, there's some other valuable things we could say, but you get those two right, you're going to be hard to stop. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We got another question in the back row. There we go.
Excuse me. Jim, so for someone who's new, hasn't sold a thing.
Seriously new.
Seriously.
Like you just wandered in.
You just wandered in. I'm here because you extended me the invitation. Come on down to the Proven Cause. So here's my question. I've heard yesterday, I heard Nate say it earlier today at his workshop. This keeper thing that you mentioned. All right, keeper. All right, keeper. Yeah. Keeper. So is that something is that like a separate thing? Like how is someone who's new like myself, who doesn't really trying to, gain some agency and traction on Amazon, right?
Yes.
How are you integrating this keeper thing? Is that from...
Yeah. Let me give you some help.
Expand a little bit?
You need to jump on our podcast,
okay,
which is silentjimdotcom, J-I-M, silentjim.com. Click on podcast, go to episode 369.
Okay.
369. I spent about 45 minutes telling you why Keepa matters, what it is, how to use the basic overview of what it is. It scrapes Amazon data in a way that no other tool does. And if you're selling on Amazon, if you're reselling, meaning you're selling other people's brands, not a brand you own, which is where everyone should start, you must use Keepa because it's the most thorough data. It's $20 a month.
Okay.
I've sent them thousands of users, and they've sent me a few Subway gift cards. You know, I mean, I don't get paid to do this.
Okay.
It is a necessary, vital tool.
Okay.
Okay? There you go.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff. Episode 369.
I love the
369.
newbies, man. I love the newbies. They're my favorite.
I love newbies. Yeah,
love
because
it.
we know we don't have to. I told this earlier, I think before you were here, like, you know, no, this was the session earlier today, about an Army general who had a room full of recruits, a couple hundred new recruits, and he was going to teach them how to drive a diesels. And he said, how many of you have driven a diesel before and know how to drive a big rig? And a bunch of hands went up. He said, you guys are dismissed. Now I'm going to teach you guys how to do it the right way, right? Like, we love newbies because we don't have to unlearn.
Yeah,
I'm writing a book.
that's the
I've been
biggest
writing a
thing.
book for a decade. The 100 things I had to unlearn from my traditional school education to actually succeed as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of unlearning that's got to go on, unfortunately. But the newbies coming in fresh, clean, like, yeah, let's go, man. They're going to do great. Yeah, we had one more question someone had. We had all the way in the back, and Mama has her hand up too. Let's let Mama go last. Yeah. All the way back. That's Cynthia in the back there.
All right, people, the floor is lava. Nobody knows what that is because I'm a teacher, so I know. You jump up. This question may be out of the scope of, you know, whatever you guys are talking about, but I have to ask it because I had this really intriguing conversation with the guy from Hummingbird, and, you know, he just, I mean, my hair is on fire after that question, so I've got to ask it. So he mentioned something about branding, and he said, you know, that you've got to, like, brand, and you've got to, like, do... you've got to trademark your stuff. And then I said, wait, I'm a like kind of new seller, like although I've been in this business for a while, but I've only sent in 2 shipments. And I said, I'm not even like a baby, I'm an embryo in this process. So, but he was saying and I would just like your take on that. And, you know, for new sellers, like, is branding a thing? Like, do resellers brand? Do we have to trademark? Like,
I'll let you finish.
do any of you know the answer to that? Am I clear on my question? I do not know.
Okay, I just want to say that you're already a brand. You already are a personal brand, whether you like it or not or willing to accept it. You're a brand. You are. Everyone in here is. You all have a story, and that story is your brand. And the shortest distance between you and all these great things that you want and these relationships and the sales, the shortest distance between you and all of that is your story, which is a brand. And the quicker you get to the trademark, the quicker you get to the brand registry, the quicker you get to the phase of, man, I've mastered replens, so now I can actually build a brand of my own that Amazon can't take down and gate and do all these things and have all these obstacles. But it's a hard road. I would recommend getting prepared for that now and accepting that, but you don't need to do anything you don't want to do. Although, you know, you should accept that, okay, I'm a brand, and start thinking of it now. Like, think about this. If I were to extract the DNA of who you are and what you're really all about, I could literally take that and iterate it to a word, into a logo, into a style guide. And it would be really unfortunate if that great idea that you've been thinking about for years, somebody else went out and trademarked it before you could get it. I'd pay a little bit of money to do that up front. But then again, when you're ready, wait for that step when you're ready for it. You don't have to go out and do anything, but take that in consideration. You're a brand.
On the courses, is there anything in the courses that kind of, you know, touches upon, you know, that process a little bit?
It's called the Proven Branding Course. I made it.
Thank you.
Check it out. It's in the Proven Amazon course. If you don't have the Proven Amazon course, come hit me up and I'll give it to you for free.
Yeah. So I just want to take the occasion of that question to reemphasize there's about, you know, if we went around the room and we said, what's that childhood business you always dreamed of launching? And we'd all have an answer. And I consider my job to reel everybody in the organization back in and say, okay, maybe you've got a 10% chance or a 5% chance, or it could turn into something, and that's great. But let's go with the lowest hanging fruit. We are so blessed to be alive at a time where the lowest risk, lowest investment, lowest learning curve of any business model, and I would argue the world has ever seen, with the highest odds of success, is right here on a platter for you if you'll do the work. Do that first, because I call this a burn unit for a reason. We are the burn unit of the e-commerce industry, because people come to us and say, well, I'd always dreamed about launching a blog about 14th century Roman poetry, and I launched it, and I put pay-per-click ads in, and I even made these little cute little stuffed animals on the about Roman, like, stop, time out, please, just, no one cares. Stop. Make some money. Jump into something predictable and stable, and then spend your spare time on the weekends doing those things that you enjoy. Maybe it's that 14th century Roman poetry blog you've ever always wanted. But don't try to monetize that because you're passionate about it. Stop.
I can't thank you enough
Let's
for
put some
talking
money in
me
the bank.
down off of that used
We've
shoe
done that.
vending machine
So
business.
many. Yeah, it's like,
Ugh,
we joke.
I thought he was being mean.
Yes, when you've got it right here on a platter, man, it's frustrating. If you can sense the frustration, put some money in the bank, build a $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month business that's got a team managing this thing. And then let's talk about some of those other fun things and throw a few dollars at those. But let's get some stability first. And this is for all of you. This isn't directed at just the person who asked the question. This is for all. We all need to hear that.
Yeah.
There's opportunity here, but don't drift around. Focus in. All right, I think we're going to give Mom the last question. Nate and I are going to hang out for a little bit if you guys have more you want to talk about.
I'll hang out all night.
Yeah, we'll hang out and do this.
Oh, by the way,
I won't be here all
come to my
night.
session about VAs tomorrow, and we'll go deeper on some of this stuff, too.
I just have a real quick question. Permission to take your 2 kids to Target real quick? I promised when this was over that we would go to Target, so I need another runner for the
You're
mic.
asking me if you can take them to Target?
Yeah, permission to leave.
They're both legal adults, Mom.
No, we need another runner.
Hey.
We were waiting for her to get done running, so if someone could take over running the mic.
Great. Someone else can run the mic. Yeah, we'll take one more question. Mom,
Go scan the bras for me.
I love you, Mom. Happy birthday, Mom.
Love you, Julie.
That was great. Okay, one last question. One last question. Anyone else? I'm sure there's someone who thought, here we go. That was a quick hand. Anyone else that has anything for us, we'll hang out, okay? Just come on up after we're done.
All right, a little bit of kudos. Can y'all hear me okay?
We got you.
So as a business owner for 30 years, I sold a business and I got really grinded in the end of that business. Being exposed to this has been like ridiculously exciting. I'll say that. I had no idea what to expect because I'm coming with a brand, trying to get someone to sell the brand on Amazon. But now like so many things are clicking like for like how to turn this into like a mega business. And so obviously you guys have made some money along the way. And so, where's your end point? Is it financial or is it relationships or is it like, what's the exit strategy that most of these people obviously are doing the passive income thing, but is there a number in mind or is it just the sky's the limit? And I guess that's a little bit more introspective because each person has different dreams. But it just seems like there's a lot of people that are just really down-to-earth people in here that are making really good money, and they're still driven like it's day one. Like the exhaustion's not setting in. So just ask you guys that.
I love that you're catching the vibe, Kevin. This conference is a vibe.
I'm excited to answer that question. Take a shot, but I want a shot at that one
really
too.
quickly. I mean, Kevin's the owner of Aqua Tree Gardens. It's just designed to make the world a better place. Check out his product at our booth at Hummingbird. It's just amazing. But my end goal is to get to heaven, right? Is to be in the presence of God as much as possible, really. But for monetarily, I got to tell you, I would do what I do for nothing because I love it so much. It's really about how I can serve and sacrifice for others to get them to a place where they can be happy. But really, for me, you think about it from in terms of, oh man, if I had $1 billion, would I enjoy my life more as a billionaire than I do right now? I don't think I would, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not really driven by money. I'm driven by people and relationships. So that's a hard question for me to ask. But I do know that I've made the mistake of, I want to make so much money. I've got like $300,000 in recording equipment because I love music. And I thought, I need 50 guitars. I'm trying to sell them now because I'm like, now it's like an albatross around my neck. So be careful what you wish for. But, man, to live comfortably and to be able to serve others and be happy and, be able to be in a position where you can have the clarity and the headspace to think, okay, what would God want me to do, rather than, I need to do this to, the struggle, right? Because we all struggle, right? But, everything's going to be all right, man. No matter what, right? I feel like I'm the richest man on the planet because I get to look out into an audience like this and feel this vibe and this energy. And so I'm more interested in human capital than I am in money and the people and the team I have surrounded me. I say that word, people are like, human capital, what are you, a trafficker? No. Do you know what human capital is? It's the relationships that you build and the investment that you make into people to build people. I don't build businesses. I build people. And I just get so much satisfaction out of that. To me, that's like the end goal, is to, Stephen Covey, I used to work for him, and he came to me and he was like, Nathan, I want you to write your eulogy for me. I want to read that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I couldn't do it. It was hard, but I did eventually. It took me like a year. And because, try that. Go home and write your eulogy.
So in game for me, I love your answer, Nate. I love your heart on this stuff, man, because you really are. That is who he is. We've been together 24 years, and we take no more reward than seeing a success story. And there's an addictive quality to that Nate alluded to. It's been a few years back that I asked Nate, have you ever been bored? Because I'm hearing about other people at my stage, my age of their career, and they're getting a little bored, and I'm looking forward to retirement, and I'm going to be cutting loose of this routine soon. I can't wait to get out of here. I'm like, I've never had that. I'm like, Nate, have you ever felt that? We're like, why? We've never experienced that. What's going on? We're helping people succeed. That never gets old, right? And the financial reward is kind of almost a consequence of that. But for me, the first thing I thought of when I heard your great question, I love it. I wish I had more time. I'll keep this really short. But who in here knows, this is a little Bible trivia for the believers especially, where in the Bible do we hear, well done, good and faithful servant? Does anyone know where we hear that? It's only one place. Which parable is it? Anyone know? Who said it? Talents. Right there. Yes, sir. Parable of the talents, which is basically a challenge from Jesus himself to say, be good stewards. What's a steward? What's that mean? That's a fancy biblical word, right? Christians should know a steward is someone who takes property that belongs to another. Thank you, Nate. Takes property that belongs to another, works to improve it and take care of it and expand it and make it better and bigger and more significant than it was before they took it. And then upon request, at a moment's notice, do what? Return it in its improved state. As Christians, we are stewards. As a Christian business owner, what are you stewarding? Those resources that God has given you. What is your challenge? If you want to hear those words, well done, good and faithful servant, as we hear in the parable of the talents, what are you called to do? Expand that territory. More people, more numbers, more money, more responsibility, more, not that I need a nicer watch or a bigger house or bigger boat. Some of those things might drift my way. Who cares? It's all going to be dust in 100 years. Who cares? But we are stewards, and that matters. So I'm going to spend my days expanding that network. Lord willing, the number of people that love, trust, and respect me, my 3 a.m. list, the number of people who say, yeah, your community helped me build this business. And what we're doing now is, we're serving here, we're doing this, we're meeting these needs. I'll end with this. I'm going to try to make this the last thing I share. I shared it with someone here just a few hours ago. I should have shared it with my remarks this morning because it would have been a good way to wrap things up, but you guys get the good bit. I want you to chew on this. It is impossible, and that's a big word. I don't use words like never or always or impossible unless I mean it. It is impossible for you to build a profitable business without dramatically and significantly impacting the lives of tens of thousands of people positively. And you'll never meet those people, odds are. But you will have positively impacted tens of thousands of lives. I don't care if it's scoop and poop, the equipment, the supplies, the vendors, the paint on your van, the customers you're serving. Yeah, we include them, but that's obvious. Tens of thousands of people will be dramatically impacted. So what's our job? What's my mission? To steward the resources well and to help others build businesses. This is how we put a positive ripple effect into the world, unlike pretty much anything else we could be doing, right? Because we're not saying, hey, I am a charity and we have a good cause and I need donations flowing in constantly so I can do this good thing I'm trying to do. That's great. I'm not knocking it. God bless you. I couldn't do that because I would never know if I'm doing a good job or not because I don't have any metric. In business, you have a metric. What's it called? Profit. If you're doing it right, you got profits. I call profit those excess funds generated by my business that allows me to continue to serve with excellence without needing any donations from anybody. I'm serving just as much as the guy running the charity. I just don't need donations to do it because I'm serving every customer. I'm serving every vendor. I'm serving all those tens of thousands of people I will never meet. That's the hat you got to wear as a business building warrior, right? Is that a cool perspective? Does that help you? That's where my head's at. It could mean billions. It could mean we, scrape by here or there. Circumstances are out of my control. I could lose my health tomorrow, but I'm going to be about my Father's business. I'm going to be a steward with what he's given me. That's a serious challenge. So there you go, man. That's my answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of my best friends, Jim Cochran.
Nathan Bailey, love you. Love you, bro. All right, guys. Love you. Good night. Get some sleep. Big day tomorrow. Save some energy for big day 3. Nate and I will hang out up front if anyone wants to chat. Could you cut my mic, please?